What's good, y'all? Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. It's been a little while since we've done an outside video. Before we continue, if you could, please hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button. Make sure you stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesday videos. Just in case you guys didn't see the community posts, I am posting a regular video in some form of fashion every day this week. First time I've done it in a while. And I might do it next week, depending on how much content I can get done. I'm currently on Thanksgiving break by the time it's recording, so I have a lot more time on my hands. So, yeah, make sure you stay tuned. And the only way you're going to be able to stay tuned is if you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Today's topic is going to be a very interesting one. It's not going to be a long one, but it's a conversation that I had with someone the other day. And it made me think about jobs, right? It made me think about jobs, job security, but most importantly, it made me really think about when people leave a job, what are the things you should do versus what are the things that you should not do? Now, let's be real. We've all been there at one point in time where we had a job that we either left because it wasn't a good fit for us, or we thought about leaving because it wasn't a good fit for us. But when it comes to your exit strategy, which we're going to call this video the exit strategies of leaving a job, exit strategy of leaving a job, if you will. Or, we can say strategies because there's more than one way. We want to talk about some of the do's and don'ts, right? If you're watching this video right now and you feel like you are in a position to where, you know what, I really want to leave my job. Things are not working out. Things might not be aligning with my purpose. It may just be a very bad environment. We're going to give you 3 do's and 3 don'ts as far as what you should do when it comes to your exit strategy from your job. Good morning. So let's start with the 3 do's. Number 1. Do write a resignation letter and give 2 weeks notice, minimum, 4 weeks max. Here's why I say 2 to 4 week window for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it gives you a chance to go ahead, or should I say it gives them a chance to go ahead and find somebody as your replacement. You know what I'm saying? The way jobs work these days, a lot of people want to work, a lot of people need a job, so it shouldn't take that long to find somebody to replace you with once you're gone. But if you give that 2 to 4 weeks notice, it's one of those things where they have more than enough time to interview candidates that can fill your spot once you're gone. Hopefully they'll have somebody lined up in place before that happens. You don't want to make it more than 4 weeks because you might say 4 weeks for different reasons, which I'm going to get into with number 2. But unless you already have a job lined up, if they cancel that out, which they could do at any given time, then you're kind of stuck under the bus for a little bit unless you have some savings saved up, which is one of the reasons why it's important to have a certain amount of money saved up for situations like that, just in case. Actually, I'll give you a prime example on a more extreme level. So back in 2016, I graduated with my master's, and I was working in the summer in Daytona. I was working at Family Dollar, and I was working at Razzles. I was a cashier at Family Dollar. Razzles, I was a club bouncer. Day and night job for me. I'll talk more about Razzles a little later on because that's going to go into my don'ts. But as far as my do's, I put in a 2 weeks resignation notice from Family Dollar because I knew I was moving to Orlando in about 2 weeks. Well, Lord and behold, they let me go literally a couple days later, which I was kind of shocked because I was like, I said I needed 2 more weeks. Now, luckily, I did have some money saved up, but even still, it was just like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It was a bit disappointing because I'm like, dang, they can let you go that fast? Yeah, they can. So you don't want to make it more than 4 weeks because anytime you put in a 2 weeks notice, even still, it's one of those things where they can still let you go at any given time, especially in a state like Florida. It's right to work state. They can let you go without probable cause. Unfortunately, it sucks, but I'm also learning this is why it's important to be a part of unions with different industries, depending on where you work at. But we'll talk about that in another video. So, number 2, which probably should have been number 1, do make sure you have a job lined up. All right? The worst thing you can do is leave a job and not have anything planned. One of the mistakes that I made was when I left Daytona, I didn't have a job lined up in Orlando. Now, luckily, I was staying with somebody at the time that was very understanding while I went to go look for another job. But that is not something that you want to do. All right? That's not something that you want to do. Always have another job lined up, especially if you plan on living in a different city or different state than where you currently are at. You do not want to move and not have another job lined up, because guess what? Even if you have 6 months to a year's worth of savings, you got to understand that money can get depleted real fast just off of rent alone. And let's not even talk about other unexpected situations that might come your way. So you want to be very, very careful about that. All right? Very careful. Let's see. Number 3. The 3 do is do make sure, and again, this kind of ties to one of the first points I had, do make sure that if at all possible, you have a certain amount of money saved up, which kind of brings me back to point number 1. When I was talking about, even though if you put in a 2-week notice, let's say you do that minimum, they could literally let you go the next day, depending on what state you're in. So you want to be very, very careful about that, because, yeah, they let you go a day later, but you don't start your job for another 2 or 3 weeks. It's like, how you going to get money if you don't have a certain amount of money saved up? So just be mindful of that. You want to have a certain amount of money. Really, when it comes to savings, and I know this is something I'm currently working on, so when I say this, don't think that Mark is just saying he's perfect at this, because I ain't. You want to have at least 3 to 6 months of savings, minimum, as far as your rent, your expenses. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's tough in this society. But if you haven't already started, I encourage you to start that today. I've just started recently, and I'm already noticing, okay, I see why people say that. So please, 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 for your well-being, if you're able to do that, start today. I know everybody can't, but if you can, even if you could just put $10 aside the paycheck. I know it seems so minute, but it makes a difference. My mom told me about that, and she's absolutely right, So let's talk about the don'ts. The don'ts. And I'm going to give you some examples also along with those don'ts. Do not leave a job without a 2 weeks notice. All right, now I know that kind of goes away from the video of exit strategies with a 2-week notice, but the reason why I'm bringing this up as a do not is because I've seen so many people leave jobs and they don't even, they just don't show up, they don't come back. That leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, especially the people that hired you. You always want to leave on a good note, which kind of ties into my do. I probably should have added it as a do, but always leave on a good note. If you leave all of a sudden without no warning, you never know. You might have to cross back over that bridge today, because maybe things might not work out at your other job. You might need to go back to your old job, or you might need a reference. Ain't nobody gonna write you a reference if you leave on bad terms, or if you leave just unexpectedly and there wasn't like an emergency or anything like that. I know for me, if I hire somebody and we leave on good terms, you ever need a resignation letter? You ever need me to call and kind of recommend you for a certain position? I got you. Because guess what? We had good terms. I'm not expecting everybody to stay at my job. But if you leave on bad terms, that's a problem. All right? Which brings me to my number 2 point. Do not cause chaos in the workplace on your way out. All right? You do not want to leave. It's kind of like, when you go to a place with a bunch of people, or let's say you go to a place with a bunch of kids and the place is clean, right? And you tell the kids, hey, this place needs to be exactly as it was before we got here, if not better. And it's the same way when it comes to you leaving a job. That area, your workplace, should be the same exact way before you or when you showed up, if not better. In fact, I would encourage you to leave it on a better note, just to leave some good morale. You know what I'm saying? Do not cause drama. Do not create chaos. That's another way you can get on somebody's bad side. And that is definitely another way in which you can get let go of faster. You had a 3-week notice? Sorry about that. I was getting loud. You had a 3-week notice? Guess what? You probably got a 2-day notice now. Just saying. And number 3, do not tell a lot of people that you're leaving. Okay? Some people will probably already know based on who the boss talks to and whatnot, but it ain't nobody's business. Unless you're working with a family member, even if you're working with a quote-unquote close friend at the job, don't tell a whole bunch of people you're leaving. All right. Even if you put in a 2 weeks notice, that can still leave a little bit more of a sour taste in your boss's mouth. Even if you're leaving on a good note, just keep it low. Which I think when it comes to plans in general, you should keep that junk low regardless. All right. And I'm going to add a bonus one for do nots. Since we're in the social media age, do not post it on social media that you put in your 2 weeks notice. I hope you guys are aware that social media is so public that even if it's private, it's not. Somebody could see your posts and go ahead and say something. Oh, wait, I got one before that. Definitely do not post anything on social media about you leaving a job, especially if you haven't even put your 2 weeks notice in yet. Because guess what? If they find out, you're screwed. Yeah, don't do that. All right? Again, keep everything on the low. Keep your moves personal. And watch what happens. All right? Now, again, if you got a family member that you work with on the job, or let's say you are working for your family, that's a whole different story. But other than that, don't be going around doing that. So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Some of my do's and don'ts as far as your exit strategies from a workplace. You tell me, what are your do's and don'ts? Or, add more. Did I miss anything? Did I nail them? Let me know. Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys. Hope y'all have a great day.